Hola, hola, Fitu. Welcome back to the second part of email etiquette. I hope you're still tuning in. So like basically like on this one, Buffett, be picking up where we left off. So I feel like on the previous video, let's go like the fifth rule. So like on this one, this is where you're gonna be like taking from the sixth rule to the last one. So like the sixth rule goes like this: avoid all capital letters. Because like using all capital letters, to emphasize or like to highlight your message looks as if like you're shouting. And also using lowercase letters looks as if like when you're the type of person who is lazy, basically. So like it is very important to use sentence keys of it. And also it's also important that you use a diplomatic language, like where like you interact like in a way that fosters a good relationship, like between you and Ali, the person that you're sending an email to. um the second one, like the seventh one, which is avoid using emojis. Avoid using emoticons. Like it's very important to avoid that at all cost. Like don't use like smiley faces. Like don't use emoticons. Don't use your SMS language whenever you are sending a formal email, because firstly it is unprofessional, and then secondly you will create a bad impression of you. Basically, like it could be like whether you're using like your phone or your laptop to send an email, but oksala, you're like formal email is a formal email. Like no matter how much like you want to express, maybe like how much you feel, like via emojis, but always avoid using that on an on a formal email, basically. And then the eighth one, which is be brief. Like it's always important to be brief. Like it's always important, like to keep your email short. It's always important to keep your email clear. Like it's always important to keep your email straight to the point of it. Because like people are busy, like people are busy, and like they receive like large number of emails, basically. So like if yours is too lengthy, man, chances that like your email will be opened, like are very slim, actually. So, and like sometimes like they may not choose to like to open and read it, basically. And that's not what we want, like like especially like when we are sending a formal email, basically. So and then the ninth one, which is think before you send an email, because like an email that is hastily sent, can either like could either um destroy your career, like wreck a relationship, or like also make you a laughing stock, and which is what we don't want, actually. So it's always important that you should always ask yourself like if an email is the best method of communication for a given situation. Like and also happy birthday to it's important to only send an email that when you would be happy to see, man. Yeah. Or like if maybe like you find that like the person that you want like the person that you want to send an email to, like maybe like is in the same office as you, or like is in the same room as you, like it's not bad, like to simply like go over to the person, and like talk to them, basically. Or like if they're not there, like what you can do is you can pick up the phone and call them, actually. And then the last one, which is think before you forward, because like it's very important that you do not forward, like every cute or email like you receive, like to everyone, like in your like address book of it, because like some people maybe like I'm irritated by this, so sending such emails, man, like to people you barely know, like yeah, come across as unprofessional, like yeah, and like indeed very like it's very unprofessional, so but for true, that's it for the video. That's it for our 10 email etiquette rules. So like I hope you've learned, I hope you've taken lessons, and I hope you've taken notes as well, Buffett, So again and again and again, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the like button, Buffett, Away.